Greetings and salutations, dreamers in dreamland. One more time. Greetings and salutations, dreamers in dreamland. Welcome to the latest edition of Listen to Me. Listen to Me number 59. And let me tell you something right now, dreamers in dreamland. Today is Wednesday, the 8th of December, 2021. And yours truly, the dream, everybody's favorite boxing shaman, I am here to deliver to you the news, the long overdue news. Finally, the WBC has ordered Dillian Whyte to get his long overdue shot at the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World. Dillian Whyte, who's been number one contender for over 1,000 days. Dillian Whyte, who's been a mandatory challenger for over a year. Dillian Whyte, who at heavyweight, his resume, today, win, lose, or draw, among the best in the world. Look, Dillian Whyte has been waiting for this moment for quite some time. Look, I'll make it no secret. Everybody's favorite boxing shaman, yours truly, I've been waiting for this fight. I've been waiting for this order for quite some time. The entire boxing world has been waiting for this order for quite some time. Dillian Whyte has been the number one contender, and the WBC ordered Dominic Breazeale to get a shot at the WBC heavyweight title back in 2019 when Deontay Wilder was the champion. Bizarre, being that Dominic Breazeale was the number 5 contender and Dillian Whyte was the number 1 contender. Very strange stuff. And Dillian Whyte becomes the mandatory again, and he's got to wait and all this bullshit. He had to take the WBC to court. And then when he was in court, when he was due his shot, they tried to circumvent Dillian Whyte once again. Now, finally, today, the 8th, I believe the news dropped yesterday, the 7th of December, 2021. The WBC has ordered Dillian Whyte to receive his shot against Tyson Fury. And the negotiations, the hourglass has flipped. The time has begun for the negotiations to begin. So within the next, the WBC, they're not gonna hold a gun to the head of Tyson Fury or to his people, but they do want action to be taken. So I would say within the next 2 months, you're gonna see some sort of announcement with Dillian Whyte either getting his shot against Tyson Fury or Tyson Fury vacating the WBC Championship of the World. Now, again, as I've noted, as the entire boxing world knows, Dillian Whyte is long overdue his shot at the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World. Look, Dillian Whyte is 28-2 with 19 knockouts. The 2 losses in his career came at the hands of Anthony Joshua, who went on in the very next fight to become World Heavyweight Champion. Dillian Whyte's other loss was to Alexander Povetkin back in 2020, and he has since avenged that loss in the rematch. Dillian Whyte, in his first fight with Alexander Povetkin, he was winning every single minute of that fight against Alex Povetkin. Every single minute. He bounced him off the canvas twice. Dillian Whyte was beating Alex Povetkin from pillar to post. No question about it. Dillian Whyte was beating the shit out of Alexander Povetkin, and then Alexander Povetkin measured and timed the shot. A perfect shot, a peach of a punch, boom! Knocked out Dillian Whyte. Knocked him out cold. Now look, Dillian Whyte is probably my favorite heavyweight boxer in the world today. However, when that happened, that was an incredible, exciting knockout. And let's be real. Let's get real. That's the reason, one of the reasons, we all watch boxing. The theater of the unexpected. Beauty in brutality. The sweet science. Knockouts. Knockouts can change the landscape of boxing. Knockouts can change careers. And knockouts can change the course of what's going on in a fight. And listen, Dillian Whyte was dominating that first fight until he got caught. Knocked out. That was it. In the rematch, Dillian Whyte dominated Alexander Povetkin and stopped that guy early. Beat the shit out of him. Clearly dominated him and ended Alexander Povetkin's career. Alexander Povetkin, who had been a top 10 heavyweight for the entire duration of his career. Alexander Povetkin, WBA champion of the world in the past. Okay, a regular champion, but a WBA champion nonetheless. Alexander Povetkin, whose only 2 losses previous to losing his 3rd loss to Dillian Whyte were at the hands of Vladimir Klitschko, who dominated the heavyweight division for a decade. And if you don't know who Vladimir Klitschko is or why he's one of the possibly 10 to 15 greatest heavyweight champions in history, then you shouldn't be watching this channel. The other loss that Alexander Povetkin suffered was at the hands of Anthony Joshua. Two-time unified champion of the world, Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua, who's set to possibly have a rematch with Alexander Usyk in the future and will possibly be a three-time unified champion of the world. Either way, any way you want to slice the bread, Dillian Whyte losing to AJ and Dillian Whyte, losing to Alexander Povetkin, that doesn't take away from Dillian Whyte's, resume at heavyweight. It's 2 losses on his career, yes, but 1 loss to Povetkin, he avenged, and the other loss, he's looking to avenge. He has wanted a rematch with Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua is 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. There's no shame in losing to that guy, okay? And who has Dillian Whyte beat at heavyweight? Alexander Povetkin, Oscar Rivas. Oscar Rivas, who is now the WBC Bridgerweight champion of the world, who was a top 10 heavyweight when he was in the heavyweight division, was definitely a top 10 heavyweight when Dillian Whyte fought him, and was not a guy that anyone was stepping towards other than Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte also beat Derek Chisora twice. Now, this is a commonality between Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. They both fought Derek Chisora twice, and they both beat Derek Chisora twice. And they both beat Derek Chisora more convincingly in the second fight. The first Dillian Whyte-Derek Chisora fight was very close. The first Tyson Fury-Derek Chisora fight was very close. They both ran it back with Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora, who's still a top 10 heavyweight. Derek Chisora, who just beat the shit out of Joe Parker and is probably going to beat the shit out of him again. All right? Derek Chisora, who is definitely number 10 when it comes to top 10 heavyweights. I don't give a shit how many losses he has. All right? I really don't. Derek Chisora is definitely number 10 today, right now. Even still, right now. But Dillian Whyte, Tyson Fury both beat that guy twice, and they both beat him better in the second fight. Okay? Dillian Whyte, who else did he beat? Oh, Joe Parker, former WBO champion of the world, Joe Parker. Joe Parker, who's only lost to Dillian Whyte and only lost to Anthony Joshua. Now, let's get real. Joe Parker got his ass kicked by Derek Chisora, and he should have lost that fight, but he was gifted a decision. A bullshit split decision, but he was gifted a decision. And I thought that was a fucking robbery. And I thought it was a robbery in Derek Chisora's backyard, which is an atrocity if and of itself. However, Dillian Whyte has also beaten, he beat Lucas Brown, former champion, WBA champion Lucas Brown. He also beat Robert Helenius. Robert Helenius, who beat the shit out of Adam Kalinowski twice. Robert Helenius, who was at the time a top 10 heavyweight and who is currently maybe a top 15 heavyweight. Dillian Whyte also beat the very tough Brian Minto, who has been in the ring with anyone and everyone around the heavyweight division and has even stepped to the octagon. Look, Brian Minto was a very, very, very tough fighter. Dillian Whyte beat the shit out of that guy when he was still really a prospect, when Dillian Whyte was on the come-up. That's a real tough fight for a prospect to take. Look, Dillian Whyte, 28-2, 19 knockouts. Tyson Fury, 31-0, 1 draw, 22 knockouts. We know about the one controversial draw with Deontay Wilder. And again, Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte have both fought Derek Chisora twice, and they both beat Derek Chisora twice. So I'm really looking forward to the next steps in this fight between Dillian Whyte and Tyson Fury, the making of this fight. Very happy that finally, the fucking WBC ordered this long overdue fight. I am so glad that it's happening. I'm sure the boxing world is glad this order has finally come down. And I'm very happy for Dillian Whyte, and I'm sure he's glad as well. Dillian, if you can hear my voice, if you see this video, I wish you all the best in your training, up and coming to this Tyson Fury fight, and I really hope the fight happens for you in a timely fashion. Now, moving on, I do want to touch upon the fights that happened this past weekend. Once again, I didn't get to do a review of the Tank Davis and Isaac Cruz fight. Now, listen, Isaac Cruz was unheralded, really going into that fight, as I had stated in my fight day video for Tank Davis and Isaac Cruz. I stated that maybe Isaac Cruz was a top 10 heavyweight if you sharpened your pencil the right way and you penciled him in there, and you could squeeze the ball and get all, squeeze the orange and get all the juice out of it. Maybe you'd have a full cup, and maybe that cup would amount to Isaac Cruz being number 10. Now, that's not an insult. That's just, the lightweight division is stacked, and there's a lot of guys that are around number 10. And previous to his fight with Tank Davis, I had only seen very limited amounts of Isaac Cruz. Now, after his fight with Tank Davis, I'm not going to dive into a pool of, of nostalgia. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Isaac Cruz is the next Roberto Duran, or he's the next Julio Cesar Chavez, or, Juan Manuel Marquez, or Marco Antonio Barrera, or Eric Morales, or anything like that. I'm not going to feed you a line of bullshit. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you the truth. What I saw from Isaac Cruz was a guy who was determined, a guy who probably deserved a draw. I didn't see Tank Davis win the fight. But I do understand that the house fighter, the guy who's drawing a lot more money, who's drawing a lot more water to the, to the party here, Tank Davis, I know he's going to get a favorable decision. But what I will say is I'll say the same thing I said about JoJo Diaz and Devin Haney. Devin Haney beat JoJo Diaz, and Rick Glazier, he made the deduction that while Devin Haney won, he's more looking forward to see JoJo Diaz fight next. And when it comes to Tank Davis and Isaac Cruz, I feel the same way. And not because Gervonta Davis is not a knockout fighter. Gervonta Davis packs a punch. He's 26-0, 24 knockouts. Isaac Cruz is only the second fighter in history to go the distance with Tank Davis. So I congratulate him. And Isaac Cruz definitely pushed the envelope. But what I will say is that I'm looking forward to what's next for Isaac Cruz more than I'm looking forward to what's next for Tank Davis. Because let's be honest, Tank Davis is wrapped in bubble wrap. He's protected. Okay, he's not going to get in the ring with Ryan Garcia. He's not going to get in the ring with George Kambosos Jr. He's not going to get in the ring with, the now defeated and depleted Teofimo Lopez. But when Teofimo was the champion, Tank Davis wasn't stepping towards Teofimo Lopez. And I don't think he's going to get in the ring with Teofimo Lopez going forward. Tank Davis is not going to fight anyone worthwhile outside of the PBC Showtime umbrella. That's the only place Tank Davis is going to go. And Leonard Ellerbe is literally threatening Eddie Hearn when Eddie Hearn, asks for a blind purse bid for a fight possibly between Devin Haney and Tank Davis. Now, in a perfect boxing world, I would love to see the two fighters from this past weekend, the two winners, Devin Haney and Tank Davis. I'd love to see those guys go into a fight next. I would love to see it. Devin Haney's 23 years old. He's 27-0 with 15 knockouts. Tank Davis is 27 years old, 4 years older. 26-0, 24 knockouts. All right, I'd love to see those guys square up next and fight for the WBC lightweight title. I'd love to see that. Not going to fucking happen. Devin Haney's a free agent. He's not going to fight on the cheap on Showtime, pay-per-view. He's not going to do it. He can make more money on an open purse bid. And in a free market economy, in a prize fighting where prize fighting is based upon, the prize, which is the money, which is the purse, the payout, the fucking dinero, la plata, the money. That's what it's about, okay? The money. And if it's a purse bid, the most money, whoever has the most money hosts the fight. And that's the most money for the fighters. And Leonard Ellerbe is literally threatening Eddie Hearn because he suggested a purse bid. A boxing promoter is not supposed to suggest a purse bid? Leonard Ellerbe is a fucking schmendrick. He's an ass clown. He's a jerk. He's an idiot. He's a fool. And he's literally playing puppeteers with the Tank Davis and the Tank Davis fans. And it's horrible and it's bad for boxing. And in a perfect world, I would love to see from this past weekend the losers of the two close fights face off. And I'd actually rather see JoJo Diaz and Isaac Cruz, the two gentlemen that lost close fights this past weekend at the hands of Tank Davis and Devin Haney. I would rather see Isaac Cruz and JoJo Diaz square up next than see Devin Haney fight Tank Davis next. It would be a better fight. It would be a more action-packed fight. And to be honest, it's more likely to happen. JoJo Diaz is a golden boy fighter. And golden boy fighters, they work with TopRank. They work with MatchRoom. They work with PBC. Not as frequently as they work with TopRank or MatchRoom, but they do work with PBC as well. And listen, at the end of the day, I don't think I don't think an honest person out there wouldn't love to see JoJo Diaz and Isaac Cruz. That would be a fucking phenomenal fight. That would be an action-packed fight. And that would really bring out a strong fan base. You'd have, JoJo Diaz and the, Chicano fan base, and you'd have Isaac Cruz and the hardcore Mexican fan base. The Mexicans from Mexico, and then the Chicanos, the Mexican-Americans here in America. That's a classic battle. That's a great audience. And I would venture to say that would do great numbers out there, in either Southern California or, Las Vegas. That would do some great numbers, and that would be an action-packed fight. And, given the political boundaries in boxing, that fight's more likely to happen because the purses don't have to be as high for Isaac Cruz and JoJo Diaz. Tank Davis, he's been convinced by Leonard Ellerbe and, the entire money team that he's a star. He's a big fucking star. The real reason that Tank Davis demands all this money and is now on pay-per-view is because, years ago, a fight was offered to him by Eddie Hearn to unify with Tevin Farmer when they were both champions. I believe it was at 130 pounds. And I believe Eddie Hearn said, what do you want, 5, 6, 7 million? And Tank Davis, was told and ordered by Al Heyman, you can't do that, boy. You can't take that fight because I said so. Because that's a fight that Tank Davis likely would have won. JoJo Diaz beat Tevin Farmer shortly thereafter and took his title. And Tank Davis likely would have beaten Tevin Farmer. I like Tevin Farmer, and I would have loved to see the fight. And I would have wanted Tevin Farmer to win, but I would not have bet my money on him. And I would have picked Gervonta Davis to win that fight and to win it by knockout. But at the end of the day, the fight didn't happen. And because of the offer that was made of all that money, Tank Davis is now on pay-per-view. Devin Haney, also a Matchroom fighter, he's been getting paid $1 million purses to fight in these fights on Matchroom. And some of them are against decent opponents, and some of them are against unheralded opponents. But he did fight and beat Jorge Linares, who Ryan Garcia wouldn't fight. Devin Haney did fight and beat JoJo Diaz, who Ryan Garcia wouldn't fight. And, Devin Haney did fight and beat Yuriorkis Gamboa. Tank Davis did as well. He beat him by decision. But at the end of the day, Devin Haney made a boatload of money doing so. And he's not going to go from making $1 million purses to fighting for peanuts on Showtime with some possibilities of pay-per-view buys. It's not going to work for Devin Haney. And when it comes to a purse bid, Leonard Ellerbe is just pissing in the wind and getting it all over himself as he has his mouth open. So deduct from that what you will, but that's what's going on with the money team, and that's the way Leonard Ellerbe is acting. And because of that, I'm not really looking forward to what's next for Tank Davis. Yeah, I'd love to see him fight George Kambosos Jr. for, the unified championship of the world. I would love to see Tank Davis fight Devin Haney. Shit, I would love to see Tank Davis fight Ryan Garcia. Ain't none of that shit gonna happen. So, Dreamers in Dreamland, everybody's favorite boxing shaman, yours truly. It's been a pleasure of mine. It's been a pleasure of yours. It's been a pleasure of ours. If you're a fan, fam, friend, foe, frenemy, fucking asshole, I got nothing but love for you. Peace!